Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Welcome into Wildcast Studios for another episode of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats, presented by Alpha's Appliance Solutions, a premier destination for all KitchenAid, Whirlpool, and Maytag appliances. Right now, they have the KitchenAid built-in savings event. Save $600 when you purchase any 3 KitchenAid appliances, $800 when you purchase any 4, and $1,200 when you purchase any 5 or more qualifying KitchenAid appliances from now till March 5th. As always, Fanishers, I am your host, Adam Lund, and I am joined by Mr. YQM, Mr. Starbucks, Mr. Jack Frost Winterfest, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. You dug yourself out, did you?
Yeah, I did. It's too bad Alphas doesn't sell snowblowers.
Yeah.
I could have used one of those today. But not going to get too much into that conversation. We're gonna have a little bit of discussion about that later. But I think we got a little more than they were calling for.
I thought we got less than they were. I thought they were calling like 20 to 25, and then on the news it said about 18. But when I looked out of the window this morning, I was like, it doesn't look like that much. Mm-hmm. Then when I got out there with my snow thrower, yep, that's a fair bit of snow.
Yeah, to me it was. I thought they were only expecting 15 centimeters, and I went out there and I was like, yeah, this is definitely more than 15. 15 is my cutoff. That's when I don't do it myself.
Yeah.
But no, that was a surprise dump. Let's put it that way.
And not in a good way. I said to Layla, because we were supposed to have a doctor's appointment Monday.
Same.
So I got up and she's like, yeah, doctor's appointment's canceled. I'm like, oh, are you still going for lunch with your friend then? Because our restaurant's closed or anything? No, she's like, no, still going for that. And I was like, I looked outside. I'm like, I came back inside after being covered in snow from blowing snow. It's amazing when the wind is going left to right and you start throwing snow. Magically, the snow goes the opposite way, right into your face. I was like, I'm very glad we didn't have an appointment early in the morning to go have our daughter delivered, because trying to get out of that and coming home 3 days later with whatever was left in the snow, like, no, thank you. Trying to drive back in with, like, I don't know, this much from the graders, just doing all that.
Yeah.
No, thanks. So luckily she's in for at least one more week. Hopefully we don't have any more dumps of snow on a Sunday night. But I think if it was to happen that way, I probably would have gone out at 10:30, 11 and blew as much snow as I possibly could. But yeah, it's the penultimate episode of the podcast before she is going to make her debut, which is a nervously exciting time. It's just kind of want her to be here, but also stay in there because it's going to change a lot. Of 20 years is a long time to remember.
I thought I was in bad. I was in rough shape.
Yeah.
And then I realized, you've got a 20-year-old. And I was like, geez, I thought I was a lone wolf here with, like, the 10-year difference, but nope, you've got another decade on me.
Yeah, and how you were saying last week when your TikTok was all baby stuff and stuff like that. Yeah. Yesterday when TikTok, like the Simpsons meme, walked in and walked out. Yeah. All my TikToks now are feeding schedules in the morning, sleep schedules, swaddle schedules, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I think that's contributing to my anxiety of, like, I don't remember waking up every 3 hours with Haley and swaddling her and all these sleep sacks and all this. And I'm just like, I probably did it, but it was 20 years ago. And I do not remember doing all that. And, like, TikTok's a great resource for some things, but man, it can also, I'm already on edge enough as it is, but it's like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I was supposed to have an appointment Monday as well, which was rescheduled.
Yeah.
But by the time this show comes out, we might know what we're having. So stay tuned for probably our socials to figure out what the Bouchers are going to be.
It's going to be quite a week. Ours arriving and the naming, and yours finding out what you are having. And are you going to give it to me so that I can surprise you on the show with it?
No,
because I thought about getting one of those.
I don't know if I could wait another. I don't know if I could have an envelope in my possession.
Yeah.
Knowing what it is.
Yeah.
And having to wait another week.
I told Layla, I was like, I would like to have them go to the appointment. Megan tells me, doesn't tell him. And then on the show, I use a firecracker because we know how your heart is with the drum. So we're just randomly talking. And I'm like, so about your baby. And I just pop it. I think But yeah, that's your heart probably wouldn't take having to wait, and B, hitting a firecracker.
Couldn't do it. No, I'd be out that door so fast. I honestly, I'd probably scream so loud the camera would fall over.
Yeah, that's also why I didn't want to do it. I'm excited to find out what you're having.
Yeah, I am too. I'm excited to kind of find out so we can do a lot more planning. And I have a sense it's a girl, but obviously, wouldn't mind a boy.
We should maybe do another pool like we did with Riker. Split the pot, half to Ronald McDonald, half to the winner, and pick your due. We'll talk about that off camera, and we'll maybe do that once we find out. Hell's Kitchen. We thought maybe Brandon was an underrated, making it to the final, and he just disappeared once they got the black jackets. Like,
he was like
he was cooking like I do.
He was running the Wildcats Powerplay.
Yeah, that's going to be a theme all night.
Just disappeared.
Yeah, that was
Except he took a night off. The Wildcats have taken like 10 nights off.
Yeah, 2025.
That's the only difference.
Yeah. No, he I mean, you could, chef said, like throughout the competition, I could see Brandon's my next head chef, but tonight I couldn't see him, and he folded under the pressure. And I enjoyed watching the comedians learn how to cook. Have you ever watched World's Worst Cook?
No.
On, I guess it's Flavor Network now, the Food Network, that it's America's worst chefs or worst cooks, and it's just random people that are terrible at it.
I do great on that.
Oh, it is. I tell Layla every time, like, that's my show. Don't even worry about it.
I'm a cook. My cooking, if it doesn't involve a block of cream cheese or a can of cream of something soup,
you're out.
Anything's, that's just a crock pot. There's a crock pot. There's a thing of cream cheese. Or a can of something cream soup. You're in for a gourmet meal if I'm cooking. Yeah,
that's also what I'm worried about, because once Layla has the C-section, she's off duty for a while, so I got to cook. So luckily she's been cooking a few meals that I just pull out, reheat for us. We got a lot of easy meals, or a lot of takeout, one of the two, either way.
Yeah, actually Megan mentioned today that we would when you guys are home with the baby, we'll order you guys skip the dishes one night.
Yes.
So there's
one night off.
There's one night off not cooking.
All right. Well, this is going to be an exciting 2 weeks on our socials. So not even hockey related, just life related. So don't forget to follow, as always, on Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram, Wildcast Podcast, TikTok, Wildcast Podcast as well. On YouTube, don't forget to like and smash the subscribe button. It lets us know you like what we're doing. As well, don't forget to click the little bell so you don't miss any podcast post games for the final stretch of the season and into the playoffs. We had a quick question, sir. We had a DM.
That's right. Yeah, you did mention that. Yeah.
From our IG fan, Paul Richard. He asked us, hey, guys, 87 shots on the weekend. And he said, hey, guys, am I tripping? I appreciated that. Am I tripping? We had 87 shots on the weekend, but only scored 4 goals. I have no complaints on the defense. I know we won Saturday, but I'm wondering if you guys feel the same way.
It's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Because we have the most goals for in the entire league by a mile.
Yeah.
Right. I think it was either 26 or 29 was the difference in goals for over Blainville, but I think they lit up Victoriaville over the weekend.
As of recording on Monday, we've scored 186. They have 166.
Yeah.
So we're averaging 4.4 a game. They're 3.9. Like you said, defensive wise, we're at 2.4 a game.
Yeah.
So,
and the cliche is, defense wins championships, blah, 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 blah. I also don't want to be winning games 2-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because cardiac arrest. I think they're still trying to figure out the whole trade deadline differences. They, we said last week we would never break up the decor, but what did they do? They broke up the decor.
Yep.
People are saying, well, now it's just more balanced 6,
which is never a bad thing. Yeah.
Sure, you can make that argument that it's a more balanced lineup now. I asked Taylor this, and I said, I was expecting them to bring in somebody to make up the loss of Loshing in the top 6, which didn't happen. He said, I think it's going to be by committee. I think struggling right with that right now. I know
Yeah.
they did Cote there. They've had Lounsbury there. With respect to both players, they're not loshing, right? So I think if there's anything that could potentially be the downfall for this team is that there was no acquisition made to replace, that the offense that we've lost with Loshing. So I don't think we're going to be putting up a lot of goals here in the second half. This is going to be very much a defensive-minded team. So don't expect any, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1 games because there's just too much parity in the league right now where every team is good. There's so many good goalies that you're not going to score 6 or 7 goals a game. Not a lot of teams will unless you're the London Knights.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. I think the London Knights are scoring sarcastically 10 goals a game.
It seems like every time you look at their stuff, they're scoring 8, 7, 8 a game. I feel the same way. I mean, yeah, you're getting wins. But I think the expectation was when you're going all in, you're going to dominate teams. And that's just not what this league is right now. Like we thought we were going to be a dogfight with 5 teams, and it's now like 9 teams, like the Western Conference. So it's a situation where I wasn't expecting to score, and they're almost scoring 5 a game. That's what's crazy. And I know that fans are a little worried deja vu wise because the last 2 Januaries, this team is kind of imploded on itself. Yep. They still haven't lost 2 games in a row in regulation. So for me, I don't know if you just kind of try and fix things, jumble some, like leave that top line the way it is and jumble everything else up so you can find some other chemistry just to see what you have. But I'm not overly worried because they're still winning games other than Sunday, but that one was a little bit closer than it needed to be. But yeah, I think for me, I think the bigger worry is the power play, and we'll talk about that in the weekly rewind. I think that's where those offensive numbers have come down. Like 5-on-5, I think they're doing fine. I'd have to check the stats on that. But I think where it's hurting and where we're seeing it is the power play, and that's what's hurting this team right now.
Look at the plus minuses on the team, right? They're 5-on-5 play. They're fine.
Yeah.
Right. It's right now.
They got 4 of the top 5 players in plus minus.
Yeah.
So
they're playing fine 5-on-5, but it's the power plays that again we'll get into.
Yeah.
We said it last week on the show. We're not going to get very many opportunities in the playoffs. They're actually going to, which actually kind of might benefit us if we're so good 5-on-5. So, I never thought about that, but the joke is, can we just not take power plays now?
Can we decline them?
Just take a penalty shot?
Yeah. But I'm good with it.
But that's kind of the thing where that's just how it is right now. They've got to figure it out because it could come back to haunt us, and it has.
Yeah,
it is, and it has.
And I think that's like I said, I think that's where the problem with the goals against is the power play isn't scoring like it was in the first half, where it was like the second rated power play. It just that's the key. Denway, Sump, Fortier, John, and Moran are the 4 of the 5 in the plus minus. So 5-on-5, we're doing just fine. It's the fact that we're not scoring when we get our opportunities in the power play that kind of kickstarts things. That could be a reason why. But appreciate the question, Paul. Thanks for supporting and listening to the show. And yeah, if you guys ever have questions, just hit our DMs and we'll answer them on the show. All right, let's get to some news and notes.
News and notes from around the queue.
All right, Newfoundland's going to have a team name. It'll be announced tomorrow, Thursday, January 23rd. You're pretty sure you've got a this one. I think if you're following on social media, you may have an idea of what it's going to be.
There's
and I don't hate it.
Some spoilers out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go and spoil it, but there's a domain that's already been set aside. There's a Instagram account that's already been set aside. There's a Facebook account already set aside. There's a TikTok account already set aside with the team name. So it's
they kind of maybe threw us for a loop there. with their post.
Which one?
So we're gonna have Drew Feltham on next week to talk about the season tickets there and the naming and stuff like that. I can't. He had something where it was like, it was just a picture with the lighthouse, and it was like, a new light is on the horizon, and it was just a picture of the ocean, and that's all it was. Just a new light is on the horizon. That was on Sunday night.
That was Drew did that?
No, he didn't do that. The QMJHL Newfoundland did that.
Oh, the Q
and
did that?
That's how I found it, because I couldn't remember.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're using that to throw a new loop, or if it's something like that. I think the name that is kind of out there is cool. And without spoiling too much of it, North Bay Battalion color scheme is kind of, we don't have that color scheme, and I think that would be very cool. But yeah, I think that's the name that was floated out there on all the social medias. And then I saw that, I was like, all right, that could be something.
Light is on the horizon.
Yep. So
Newfoundland flashlights.
Yep. The Newfoundland flashlights. Yeah. I like those. Someone's like, I hope we can use the Newfoundland Growler's dog, the Newfoundland battery, the Newfoundland dusters, just the fog devils uncommon, screechers, the light keepers. You just go down through the posts and you'll see a bunch of different names. But yeah, so we got we'll have a name. We'll have Drew Feltham on next week to talk about that team, and me talking about it last week. We got a team of the week. We got a Q team of the week. Finally on a Monday instead of on a Tuesday. Vincent Desjardins. Vincent Desjardins. There it is. From the Armada, 3 games played, 2 goals, 6 assists. Igor Goryanov from the Armada, 3 games played, 3 goals, 4 assists. They have flipped things around. Cassim Godet from Chicoutimi, 3 games played, 5 goals, 2 assists. Xavier Vaynou from the Armada, so 3 of them on this team of the week. 3 games played, 2 goals, 4 assists. Benjamin Cossette-Oyet from Val d'Or, 3 games, 4 assists. And Josh Fleming, 2-0, a .972 save percentage, and a 1 goals against average. Your player of the week is the aforementioned Armada's Xavier Vaynou from a team that is, I think they've won like 4 out of the last 5 or something like that. It helps when you're playing Victoriaville. It seems like every third night, but yeah, let's get to your team of the week.
Yes, so we're going to start off in nets with Emile Beaunoyer and Val d'Or. Started 2 of their 3 games in 3 days, and surprisingly, Val d'Or swept their 3-3 with 2 wins over Chicoutimi and 1 win over Baie-Comeau. Don't think anybody saw that coming, but he picked up the wins Friday night and then Sunday against Chicoutimi. On defense, Xavier Villeneuve from also the Q team of the week. 3 games, another team that played 3 games in 3 days. He had 2 points in each game for 6 points in 3 games. And then we got Nate Tivy for the OT winner Sunday against the Ramparts to keep the Sea Dogs. You mentioned they're still undefeated in overtime.
In overtime shootout.
Wow. So undefeated in extra time
or
the skills competition.
Yeah. 7-0 in overtime and 2-0 in shootouts. Crazy. Only undefeated team left.
Up front, Noah Reinhardt. He had 5 points in the 3 Val d'Or wins. Same thing, Vincent Desjardins, same reasons. He had a 6-point game on Sunday, 2 goals and 4 assists. And finally, Jacob Newcomb, because he blocked about, if you didn't see the end of that Rimouski Cape Breton game on Sunday, you don't see this very often where Cape Breton gets a 5-minute major with seconds left in the third period. And then on top of that, they get a 2-minute bench minor. So they have to go the first three minutes of overtime, down 5-on-3. And then it goes to 4-on-3. So they're basically on the penalty kill the entire overtime. And I kid you not, Jacob Newcomb blocked 10 shots on that penalty kill. So I think that's warrants me for a little team of the week.
Yeah, I would go ahead and mention
like
that.
He was just balls to the wall, blocking everything in sight. So when I watched that, I was like, yeah, wrote his name down right away.
Yeah, that's when you're blocking that many shots in a power play or a penalty kill. That should definitely put you on the team of the week. Good to see we were 5-on-5. Good to see we got out of the penalty box.
Yeah. We did some little bit of work. You kind of helped me out with the last one there when I arrived, but no, we're back to even strength.
Probably a goaltender that was not going to be on the team of the week. Yeah. One closer to home, the NHL prospect list came out. 2 Wildcats were on that list. Caleb is ranked 7th overall for North American skaters, and Julius Sump is ranked 108th overall. I'm telling you, man, it just feels like another player is going to go to the vaunted Calgary Flames. Not vaunted, my hated Calgary Flames. It's fine. Like,
I think
be good.
I think Caleb's going to be off the board before the Flames.
Well, if you guys keep winning,
yeah, but I think he's off the board. He's easily a top 10 pick. Could be, depending on how he is, if he keeps up this pace in the second half and into overtime playoffs, he could be top 5. He could really sneak his way into the top 5. Julius Sump, I think gets picked. I think a team would take a flyer on an 05 like him, a second,
especially the season he's having.
Yeah, like if is it third year eligible?
Yeah,
third year eligible. I would, I see nothing wrong with that. You look like you look at what was his face in Victoriaville last year. Nikita Preshpetov. Yeah,
Colorado.
Yeah, and he's been in the NHL this year.
Yeah,
right. And he was like what, a 6th or 7th round pick in last
at the World Juniors. Like any scout that went to watch Germany, he was Team Germany. Like he was out there taking every face-off, power play, everything. Like he willed them to a couple victories in that tournament. So I think
if he gets picked by a team that doesn't have the greatest prospect system, he can usually shoot up their depth chart. So something to keep an eye on. I would honestly take him as early as maybe the 5th round.
Yeah, right now the 7th overall pick based on lottery, if everything was the same, would be the Seattle Kraken. Utah would be 8th. So, and then you've got Detroit. The Flyers, I mean, I'm sure Caleb would like to be drafted with his brother. But yeah, they're a little bit higher, but right now it's Seattle, Utah. But the way he's going, I could easily see him getting into a top 5 position in LA.
I think he's in that 5 to 8 range.
Yeah. Point. Yeah, your Flames need to keep losing if they want to get up into that range.
Well, ever since Pelche got called up.
Isn't there top line like Pelche, who's on a 1-year deal, a guy who was like undrafted, and somebody like that Rory something?
Yeah, Rory Cairns.
Yeah,
him and who's playing with him? It's just I was gonna say Sturkin. No, that's a goalie. Igor Shav and
something or other.
Sharangovich.
Yeah, Sharon. Yeah,
does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it just seems like ever since Pelche was called up from the Wranglers, the team has been a different breed almost. So
he had the injury in the worst possible season, like your last year of your ELC, and he gets injured, and he just wasn't the same player last year. So Calgary's hanging on to a playoff spot right now.
Yeah,
interesting trade deadline for yourselves.
I wouldn't do anything drastic.
No, I wouldn't either. The news and notes from around the queue presented by Integrity Lawn Care. Check them out on Instagram or give them a call 506-866-8218 or email them at integritylawn.care@hotmail.com. You ready for a guest?
I am always ready for guests.
Yeah, this is an idea that I had last year when they did the women's night for the Wildcats, and I thought, well, there's someone who played really good hockey and someone that works for the Wildcats. So they're having it again this Friday, Women in Sports Night. So we figured who better to talk about that than someone who's played at a high level and now works in the game from the Blueberry capital of Canada. Manager of sponsorships, Mallory Russian. Mallory, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing well. We finally got out of the snow, so that's got on our snow shovel. Wasn't expecting that, but I mean, I guess I'll start with your career in hockey from Truro to RIT Pro Hockey with the Riveteers, and then the Swedish League. I mean, the opportunity to go the NCAA route. How did that happen, and was that a difficult choice to go that route as opposed to U Sports?
No, it wasn't a tough choice for me. I actually went to prep school at New Hampton School in New Hampshire when I was in grade 9.
Okay.
So I was a little bit more familiar like with the United States path just because I was already living down there. So as soon as I kind of went there, that was kind of the goal that I would end up playing Division One. And I spent 4 years in New Hampshire playing in the prep school league in New England. And then I decided on RIT.
Yeah. Like Adam said, you played some pretty high level hockey, including, this Swedish women's league. If you watch the PWHL, how do the two leagues, I guess, compare to each other?
Yeah, I would say quite similar. I know in the first year, last year for the PWHL, there wasn't a ton of Swedish players from the SDHL. But if you go through a lot of the backgrounds of a lot of the players, before there was really like an actual league like there is today, many of them have played in the SDHL after college. And then now there's a few more Swedish players actually moving over. So I'd say like the physicality is very similar. My first year in the SDHL was the first year that they actually had hitting in a women's league. So, the PWHL is known for its physical play. And I think that the girls that are coming from the SDHL, they're getting good experience from that physical play at a young age. So I would say, obviously, the PWHL is the best league in the world. But right now, like the SDHL is a great place to play as well.
So when before you went to Sweden, I guess you played pro hockey, your first time in doing that in the NWHL. It is no longer a league, but when you talk about your experience in that pro league and being a pro hockey player as a woman, that wasn't a thing, when you were growing up, when Jeremy and I were growing up, it was Team Canada, Team USA, and then that was it for girls. I guess just how did that kind of shape opportunities for how the PWHL is thriving right now? Because I mean, they're doing a lot of great things, including some of their rules in terms of, like we've said many times, that jailbreak rule is one of the best rules that there is in hockey. Yeah. So I guess just being in that league and in all that, how do you think that kind of shaped the PWHL and giving girls some success and places to go?
Yeah, I think that over the years, women's hockey, it has really transitioned to where it is today. But like flashback to when I was younger and many of my other friends and teammates, it was always like, okay, you're going to get to NCAA and you're going to play your 4 years. And then it's time to figure out what you're doing from there. That's kind of where the transition phase, a lot of people went into coaching or they just went right into work. So for me, like growing up, all it was is like, okay, I'm going to get to NCAA. I'm going to finish my college career and I'm going to go right to work because there's no place for me to play. And then of course that transitioned a little bit towards the end of my college career where, the NWHL was a new league. Obviously there were some difficulties and there were some bumps in the road. But something good really came out of that. I was kind of in there when it transitioned from the NWHL to the PHF. So it might not have been everything that we had hoped for at the start. But one thing is that every year that I played there, and other girls would agree, like the league doubled. It was always expanding. Like when it started from nothing and then it went to our salaries doubled, we were getting equipment, we were doing more travel, we were flying, like every season, there was just those little progressions. And for anyone that was a part of it, I mean, we started at the bottom and we ended pretty good. And I think that it's quite amazing that, we started from basically having our own equipment, moving our gear every night of a rink, playing in a minor hockey rink, practicing at 9, 10, 11 at night. Because people had to work during the day to now seeing, people are going to the rink as a full-time job. It's so inspiring. And it's amazing that the visibility they're getting from the fans and the exposure. I think it's just going to keep expanding. I think they're going to add more teams. I think the players are going to make more money. I can only see it growing from here.
I think Denver wants one. They had a chant when they were on the tour. Like PWHL doing a tour, Denver was chanting, "We want PWHL, we want a team," and so like, did you feel the uphill battle when you were in it, and the disdain for it's just women's hockey? It's not the Devils, it's not AJ or American Hockey League. Did you feel that when you were there and in that league, or did you just feel like, yeah, girls are coming to watch? This is a step.
Yeah, I always felt like it was so easy for outsiders to point out all the negatives.
Right.
But being in it was always like, there's always a new positive. Like we were getting more practice time. We were getting more pay. We were getting more sponsors. Like there were so many like positives that were coming out of it that, obviously it comes down to money sometimes. And you need to have a livable salary, but there were just so many other good things coming out of it. And just having people at our games, over the years and going from my first year, like not having a locker room or home rink, to my last year playing there, like we had a practice arena, like we played our games at the Devils practice arena, the Barnabas, like just, it went from, maybe not being as professional as we thought or what we came from in college, but just an uphill battle and always recognizing that there's improvements and that we were getting more fans. It made it all worth it.
I guess like with Women in Sports Night being Friday, did you ever imagine, I guess, your play on the ice transitioning to a career off the ice?
It's a tough question. At the time, not really, no. I just came home from Sweden and I was like, I'm going to play hockey again this year. And then I was like, but in the meantime, like the new league's not starting till January, like maybe I should try and get a job close to home in hockey. And then like I can train in Moncton and then see where it takes me from there. And I ended up obviously getting the job with the Wildcats, and then things just went really well. And, I felt at home there. And so obviously I never left because I'm still there. I didn't go back and play hockey. But, the transition, everyone says, okay, like, what's it like going from like playing hockey and traveling like all over the world to, now you're just like in your office. But the transition like wasn't bad at all, because I feel that like I'm in the rink every day, but my schedule is the same. Like, obviously I'm not skating and working out as much, but I'm in the rink on the weekends. Like, all these times where I'd be on the bus traveling for games, like I'm at the rink working. So, like the transition from, being a 7-day-a-week athlete to being, basically at the Avenir Center 7 days, it's like, it was a pretty seamless transition.
So when you made that adjustment, and obviously Women in Sports Night is this Friday, it's the second annual one that they're having. And do you feel the shift in terms of little girls? Jeremy's got a daughter. I've got one who doesn't play hockey or have anything to do with hockey, but I have another one that might. Do you feel that, with Jessica Campbell breaking ceilings in the NHL in Seattle, closer to home, do you feel you're the face of women's hockey here and someone that girls can look up to in the arena? And, when you're doing the events with the Wildcats and you're doing the skills competition, being on the ice and all your practice and stuff, do you feel you're the face of that change for the Moncton Wildcats? Or do you just feel like this is my job, I love giving back to my community?
I think it's just like my job, and I love giving back to the community. Like whenever I can get out on the ice for like a hockey clinic or anything to do where I can, kind of chime in and give my attention to younger athletes, I definitely make the attempt for that. But I think that I come from a community in Amherst where there's a lot of other great athletes that give back to the community. So it makes it that much easier. I have a pretty good friend, Carly Jackson and Jacob Melanson, both from Amherst, that are professional athletes right now that are paving the way in our community, always giving back. But I think that when I look back now, there was people I looked up to as women in sports, like coaches and players and stuff. But when I look at the PWHL now, I see all these Maritimers and East Coasters out there playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're all making the change. There's girls playing from Newfoundland. There's lots of girls from Nova Scotia. There's a couple of girls in the SCHL from New Brunswick. I just think that there's a big push here. And I think that there's a lot of great women hockey players in this area. And I think that now they're actually getting on the radar and getting, chances and opportunities, which is great. But I really do think that a lot of people from this area always give back to their small towns and their communities. And I think that's just part of like being an East Coaster. You play hockey here, but you always come back and give back and coach where you can or volunteer. Even our team alone, like they try and get out with minor hockey teams and stuff. Mm-hmm. The Wildcats are great at being in the community and in the schools. And I think it's a big part of it is like, you have to be visible to these young people so that they know the opportunities there for them.
I guess it was bittersweet last season when we lost Michelle to the PWHL. But I guess what is your career goal?
Good question. Honestly, I never really thought I'd be where I am, like working in sales for a hockey team this close to home. But I hope to continue to work in hockey in some capacity for the rest of my life. Like whether that be I work on the business side, or whether that be, I'm coaching youth, or maybe I transition to be on the coaching side. I did a little bit of coaching when I was younger. And I had a little short stint there at the Amherst Ramblers, not very long, but it happened. But Yeah, I don't know. I just want to always keep the game, I guess, a part of my life, whether that's, working in business or on the ice, actually giving back. And yeah.
Well, you got a career in media. You're killing it with your transitions here. A final one for you, and we'll just have some fun questions. How are you fixing our power play?
No hockey talk.
No. I guess I was looking and doing some research for this interview. I was looking at your bio on the RIT website, and under some of your personal things, and I was looking at some of your favorite movies and favorite stuff. So I just figured I'd double check if those are still the same 10 years later, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
All right. The actress you would most like to play you in a movie?
Did I say Blake Lively?
You did say Blake Lively. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, she's a good actress.
Your favorite movie?
Oh, I don't know what I put. She's the Man.
You did, yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah, you did. Is that still your favorite?
Yeah, that's
movie?
actually a good movie. I haven't watched that in a while.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
I don't know. I would say Moon Mist, but I don't think I would put that in my US bio.
No, cookie dough.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably the same thing. Favorite music performer?
Ooh, Lady Gaga.
John Mayer.
Yeah, I used to love John Mayer.
Still?
Yeah, he's all right.
Favorite team and player?
Pittsburgh Penguins and Sidney Crosby for sure.
Yeah.
I knew that was.
Just your last one. Favorite vacation spot or place you'd like to most visit?
Did I put Hawaii?
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I went there. So
There you go.
Do you have a new one?
List.
Yeah. Do you have a new one on the bucket list?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'd like to go to Cabo in Mexico.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, Mallory, we don't take up too much of your time. We appreciate you doing this and being kind of, like I said, the face and approachable for all these young kids and playing hockey. So thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Like I said, second year that they're doing a women's sports, and it's something that you see more often nowadays with teams doing that, and it's cool to see. Like the daughter I'm about to have has a chance to play hockey with other girls. Yep. Growing up, I had one girl play with us, and she had to go get dressed in a different dressing room. And you see the Timbit Parade of Champions and how many pink helmets you see out there, and it doesn't always necessarily mean a girl. There could have been ones with black and blue helmets, but the fact that they can play with their peer group and there's a chance for them to make a living at that instead of just, like she said, 4 years of school and figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. You're right. Growing up, we had girls playing hockey with us. Yeah. But now there's actually a girls hockey association. Yeah. Right. The Southeast Female Hockey Association. So there's actually, you can be with girls, or you can play with girls. You can follow the game. Right. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And she's right. Being from a small town, it's, you always give back. And she mentioned, Carly Jackson and Jacob Melanson. Mm-hmm. And did you know The Rock's dad was born in Amherst, Nova Scotia?
Really?
The Rock's dad was
Dwayne?
born.
I don't know. Or not Dwayne. I can't think of what his name is. I had no idea. I know he played football in Calgary, but I didn't know that he was born in
The
Amherst.
Rock's father was born in Amherst, Nova Scotia.
Well, if that's not a reason to get a WWE event out here at the Avenir Center, maybe not a pay-per-view.
Let's just get you to a Ramblers game on a Friday or Saturday night first, and have you experience the jungle.
In my defense, they keep putting Wildcat games on when the Ramblers are playing, but I don't know where I was going with that, because now I'm thinking about
we're a little too old for Club D, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. That's a popular club in Amherst.
Oh yeah, it's like Dooley's. It's Dooley's, but they call it Club D at like 9 o'clock. After from 9 o'clock till close. Yeah, it's Club D.
Yeah, I
had some fond memories of that place.
Bet you did.
And I think it's called the Elm Tree Tavern or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good spot.
Well, now we got to go. Yeah. Now we definitely got to go. And
I used to be on the band list at the Elm Tree, I think. But if you were from Amherst and you weren't on the band list from the Elm Tree, there's something wrong.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
How many lists do you think you're banned on?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it's probably expired now.
Yeah. Statute of limitations.
Oh,
yeah. All right. Yeah. Should we talk about our team or just keep talking about band?
Yeah.
Weren't you saying there was a club that was going away?
Huh?
Weren't you saying there's a club that's leaving in Moncton too?
Yeah, the Cosmo.
The Cosmo?
Yeah.
For like TikTok, it'll be back in 2 months with a different name.
With a new name. It'll be the new old Cosmo.
All right. Let's talk about our team.
Weekly Rewind.
All right, so the Wildcats again go 2-1 on the week, bringing the record to 33-7-2 for 68 points. First in the Maritimes, first in the Eastern Conference, and in the QMJHL. Still setting up a first round matchup with the Quebec Rempart, who we did face on the weekend. Actually, crossover wise, right now, both St. John and Halifax would cross over Gatineau and Victoriaville in the Eastern Conference. Thursday, you messaged and said if it's a boring game, you're gonna go. You might fall asleep. You just about did. We kept saying up in the press booth, welcome to Wildcats Thursday night games.
Oh, my goodness.
5-2 victory, but they only played the 20 minutes in the third period, and because it was Charlottetown, they got away with it.
Yeah, 100%. It was a very, very boring game. The third period Wildcats proved to be the third period Wildcats, and that's really the only way you can summarize this game is they played 20 minutes, and they're lucky they did. Because this division has some of the best goaltenders in the division. We got Rucha in Charlottetown, Steinman in Halifax. It's still weird, very, very weird saying that. I was going to say Gravel and St. John, but apparently not anymore.
Still Robinson is a good goaltender.
Yeah,
He can steal
very
a game.
young, very young
If he
goalie.
needs to, Malata and Cournoyer and Cape Breton. And Fleming, who was on the team of the week in Bathurst. So
this is, people ask why we're not scoring a lot of goals. We play in a division with a lot of very good goaltenders. So people need to realize that. And I mentioned earlier, there's just so much parity in the league right now, where a lot of teams are, the standings might not show it, but a lot of teams are close to, or if not equal. Right. So there's you just can't take a night off, and it's. Yeah, like I said, I almost fell asleep. You brought a pillow.
I brought a pillow.
You brought a pillow.
It's not an actual pillow; it's to sit on because those chairs are kind of uncomfortable. But you talk about parity. I mean, you look in the Eastern Conference. Moncton and Rimouski are 8-2, 6-2, but Cape Breton is 7-1. Everyone else 5-4, 5-4, 5-4, 6-4, 6-5-4, except for St. John and Halifax. In the West, I mean, Drummondville's 4-5, but they're all 6-3 or 4-4 or 6-4. Like other than Victoriaville at 1-9, but we already talked about them. It's just every team can play. You have to be ready to go on time, and that game last night felt deja vu. Like the game started at 7, and they were ready to go at about 10 after 8. And if we're doing an Islanders podcast, we're talking about the growth and how they played an absolute perfect road game. They hadn't lost in 2025 up to there, so they're getting better. And they played an absolute perfect road game.
Sadly, it's just we have a few games against Quebec teams, and then that's the rest of our season. There's a few games against Quebec teams, and then the rest is Maritime teams. So we got to figure it out and find a way to really, we can look at it and say, we're 7-0 against the Islanders this year. Well, it didn't feel like it. This game was a lot closer than it should have been. And there's been some games against the Islanders that were, some easy ones this year. This one was not easy. This one was hard. Just they had to earn this one. And if that's just going to be the way they play the rest of the season, it's going to be a tough. The second half is going to be a lot more tougher than people think.
Yeah, and we kind of mentioned that on our Megala show. They got 7 games against Quebec teams and 15 against division opponents, including 3 and 4 against the same team in Cape Breton. Like it's a mini playoff series that will determine not our standing because we're 20 points ahead of them, but where they're going to be. And if you meet them in the second round, that's, like Drew Barry likes to say, they have run our show in their building. They've been the team that of all the division, we've had the toughest time, I would say, against maybe Halifax, but we usually have success in their building. But I think Cape Breton would be the toughest opponent that we've had in these 2 years.
No, I think that's spot on. It's just, the way that these teams are the way these teams are right now. It's Cape Breton strong this year, Moncton strong this year. Next year is going to be different. There's going to be some players gone in Cape Breton. There's going to be some players gone in Moncton. So I think our cycles are pretty much lined up to meet every year. It's but getting back to the game against Charlottetown, it's a good thing that that early goal from Pekarchuk. And as nice of a goal as that was, I don't think I've seen. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but the bank off the glass to Pekarchuk that led to the goal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was intentional. It was about 2 inches from being a delay of game penalty.
Yeah.
He literally banked it off the glass to Pekarchuk in flight.
I feel like that was a happy accident.
I think so. Accidentally on purpose.
And you know what? It could have been because the goal that Miranda scored, Steiner, that was a set play where if you can get a guy, they're firing it down so that it comes off where they can't play it, and then the guy's got a breakaway or a chance on the shot on net. So you're right. That actually could have been.
If that was a drawn up play, I want to see that every night. And all
at least once. Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, you're sitting in the box for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If it works, you're getting a goal. It was so perfectly executed. I need to see it. Like I would order that off a restaurant menu if it was food.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
That was like a Ramsay beef Wellington.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Saturday we got the complete opposite game where they didn't play 40 minutes and only played 20 against Charlottetown, and against Quebec they played 40 minutes and didn't play the final 20. In Auger's return to Moncton. Nice to see the video tribute.
Yes.
It was a very well done tribute. I'm sure we'll see the other two players get theirs. They hung on to win that game. It was you sent me a message like early in the week. Are we going to see a Grenier goal or a Rudy Guimond home start first?
Well, let's get both of them out of the way on the same game.
On the same way. But yeah, that power play that Quebec had to start the third period, they didn't score, but they seized some momentum on it, and they just continued to make things happen and almost came back. It was as good as I've seen them play in 40 minutes, and then I don't know if they took the foot off the gas or what they did, and they survived to get a victory against a very scrappy Quebec team.
Yeah, I think if that game's another 5 minutes, I don't think they hang on.
Yeah.
It was just Rudy Guimond just stole the show in the third period. I can't. He made so many, game saving saves. It was just
the right foot one on the power play.
They almost hung him out to dry in the third period, which I felt bad.
Yeah,
but he was there, and that's what you need your backup to do. There's no reason we're giving up 30 shots against Quebec.
32, yeah.
32 against Quebec. I don't think that's really necessary. They were, for a team that's known to be a third period team, they were not. Quebec just completely dominated the final 20. I pointed that out to Vidicek. He didn't seem to agree with me. But that's okay. That was just, again, it was a difference. We had a bad 40 minutes against Charlottetown, but won it because of the final 20. We did good 40 minutes against Quebec, which won us the game, and a bad final 20. There's just the consistency is starting to be a little bit of a maybe it's not the right word, but there's some things that are becoming apparent when you watch this team now that I'm picking out, and it's just a bad. It's not a bad look. It's just it's an easy fix. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and then Sunday went up to Bathurst. They lost 2-1. I didn't watch it. Had a bit of a migraine from all day kind of thing, so I didn't watch that one.
I'll take this one.
But you said it could have been 4-1 if it wasn't for Rousseau. And I from what I gathered, just watching the highlights and kind of fast forwarding on Monday when I was watching it, it felt like that was the Rousseau that we're waiting to see, and they just didn't get the next one.
Yeah. So I'll start off by saying, and when I say this, I'm not directing to the team. I'm saying I was actually kind of disappointed to be a Wildcats fan after this game. Not directed at the team, but what I read on Facebook and what I read on Instagram, people are just, yes, it's a loss, but for some of these comments to say, what did I can't think of them right now, but just some people just have to realize we're not a 64-0 team.
Yeah, we've said that many times.
These people don't realize that Halifax beat Rimouski in overtime, right?
Valdor beat Chicoutimi.
Valdor beat Chicoutimi, Baie-Comeau, and Chicoutimi. There was another one I wanted to mention here. There's Drummondville lose to a.
I'm going to look for it. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night.
Yeah, exactly. And just some of the comments I read were just so.
Sherbrooke beat Drummondville. Oh, that was December.
They were just. It was just so ridiculous.
Valdor beat Drummondville 5-2.
Yes, there we go. People saying Fleming stole the show. Fleming didn't steal the show. The team made it an easy afternoon for him. They'll say, okay, well, they got 45 shots. Fleming stole the show. Go back and watch that game and tell me how many of those 45 shots were quality scoring chances. Maybe 5. They had a terrible night offensively. Bathurst kept them to the outside. They will not let the Wildcats get to the center of the ice. They didn't allow any odd man rushes. Bathurst played a clean, despite giving up 45 shots, they played a clean defensive game. I could scrub the bottom of the floor with whatever cleaner they were using, because it was smooth. They didn't make any mistakes, and Fleming was just there to make easy saves.
11 dangerous shots. 11, and that's, I believe, a dangerous shot is from the hash marks and in like a certain angle. So 11 of 45.
Yeah, and if you're not getting into the bumper on the power play, you're not getting a quality shot. You've got this perimeter on the power play, which generates little to no offense. You have when Collard parks his ass at the side of the net and waits for a cross ice pass.
Yeah,
that's your best opportunity for a goal right now. Yeah. There's someone needs to drop a bumper play here. It's they're just making it too easy. They made it way too easy for Bathurst. And you're right. If it wasn't for Russo, it's probably a 4-1 or 5-1 loss because of him and Rudy Guimont had to make 10 bell saves in the third period to make sure Rudy got the job done. I'm not saying Russo didn't get the job done. I think he was screened on the winner with under a minute left. But just they're making it too easy on these opposing goaltenders right now.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what it's coming back to. It's kind of annoying me, but at the same time, we're still the only team in the league with under 10 losses in regulation.
But
it's just the Rouen game and this game, just how it ended should not have ended this way. It shouldn't have ended. We should probably still be at 5 regulation losses.
Yep.
And be on a 13 game winning streak.
Yep.
But because of stupid mistakes in the final minutes and screening your goaltender, we've lost 2 games in the past 5? Yep. And we make this
8-2
podcast
in the last 10.
We make this podcast sound like we're falling on our faces here.
Sounds like we're 18-23.
I mean, let's turn this show into a Victoriaville Pig podcast next week. But no, it's just stupid things that need to be fixed that I know can be fixed. And you're drawing up a play on the power play?
Well, I'm just drawing up in case people don't know what the bumper is.
Okay, thank you.
The penalty kill is saving this team right now.
It is.
Since
the 5-on-5
in 2025. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. The power play is 2 of 25. The penalty kill is 20 of 25. So they've only given up 5 goals. 2 of 25 with this team is just not good enough. And I've said it many times, like the GCP, the game-changing plays. You need a power play goal to get back in a hockey game. You're going to need it to take a team out. I don't know if you guys can see that, but see where the X's are? There we go. That is the umbrella that they're playing right now. And they may have a guy over on the other side. That's all they're doing. So those circle penalty killers, their job is easy.
Too easy.
The goaltender's job, too easy.
Mhm.
Now, yes, they scored a goal with Collard standing where the X is by the net.
But that's happened. I mean, Gabe Smith got one. So I think the last 2 power play goals they've scored was Gabe Smith on one
Mhm.
and Vince Collard literally just in front of the net. And they're just deflecting a pass, right? Another thing that's kind of annoyed me a little bit, and I'm not trying to blame the player on here, but Gabe Smith parks his ass in front of the net and gets an interference penalty.
Yeah.
It's happened in Bathurst.
Yeah.
And it happened
Like a
against
goalie
Charlottetown.
interference penalty?
No, it just he's trying to move around to
Oh.
gain position,
Yeah.
and the player falls on his ass, and Gabe Smith gets an interference penalty for just trying to win position.
So now I've got the guy in the middle, the X. I've moved the other players down.
Mhm.
Go behind the net, make it get lost is what we're trying to say. And of course, we aren't coaches, and this is going to seem like condescending from me, but if they have a guy in the middle of the box, they need to defend that pass. So
Yeah.
now they've got to have their head on a swivel, and he
Mhm.
can move in and out, plays all over the ice,
Yep.
in, back, instead of having a shot where if this defenseman shoots, he's got a clear lane to see that. If
Yep.
he doesn't, he's got a guy in front of here.
These defenders have got to watch this guy in the middle.
Yeah.
Right?
They've got to take this guy. Well, that leaves this open. They got to take this guy. That leaves this open. Slide around. Like I'm not claiming to be a coach. I'm not claiming to fix it, but I just want to see something. I'm not saying that they're not trying different things, but it seems like the last couple years where it's the same power play with the same
Mhm.
guys.
Yep.
And I would like to see the bumper. You see so many teams in the NHL do it. You see so many teams do it. You see a few in the queue. Like, we have enough skill with Denway and Pekarchek. And I always use this reference, and I hate doing it because we're not the Oilers. But you see Connor, who's the best player in the world, skate in, and he makes it so easy to get in. And yes, he's got speed when they do the bumper. But how are we not just getting in and stopping and making a play? Or like, it just seems like you said, if they lose the faceoff, they're done.
Yep.
And if they finally get in, it's too easy. If you go back and watch some of the games where they've got the power play, it's just too easy for the teams because they're just moving back and forth and they're looking for that perfect shot almost. And there's some times where it's like, just shoot, just get pucks on net. And I know 87 shots in 2 games is a little ridiculous to come on here and say, just shoot. But in power play
They're
terms,
not difficult shots.
yeah, like goalies in the queue are going to stop those pucks 9 out of 10 times from there.
Mhm.
Oh, we're back online. Yeah, I moved the screen. There we go. But 2 for 25 is something to, I think, be alarmed about. And I think that's where, yeah, I don't know how you fix it, but it's a big weekend coming up that, you can't really let this go 2 for 30, 2 for 35, 2 for 40, like, especially against 3 games against Cape Breton. Like, you have to get this going. You've got Bathurst this weekend. You've got Quebec, not Quebec. You've got Rimouski, which I think a lot of people have circled on their calendar as the test.
Makes me wonder if this team has just been looking ahead to this game.
The Rimouski game?
Yeah.
It's not wrong. They'll never admit that, but you're not
mean-
wrong in wondering. I mean, that is the game that a measuring stick for a team that's 33-7. That would be it. This is the team that you're going to be fighting with probably in the 3rd round, maybe the 4th round to get a bid to the Memorial Cup. So I think based off them giving Rudy the home start against Quebec and Rousseau Sunday, I think we're going to see Rudy get another start against Bathurst on Sunday or Friday, and Rousseau is going to get a full week rest to be ready to go against Rimouski.
I would be against that.
I think when they looked at the schedule and listened to our show, I think when they looked at the schedule and the goaltenders, I think that's what they did. They looked at it and they went, if we put him here, we can get Rousseau a full week off.
Rudy earned it. Rudy earned his home start.
He did.
He played his pants off and deserves. I've been waiting forever for him to get a home start.
Yeah,
and I know he'd been waiting for it too. And I'm not against it. I want to see him get that Bathurst game because, give him a different look. It's how many times how many video does Bathurst have on Russo? Thousands.
3 years. Oh yeah,
Thousands.
Yeah.
Give them a different look.
Yeah,
and
it's
I don't
gonna be
know.
the same with Cape Breton too. Like that's
Yeah.
what's going to be tough about these divisional battles, and when you trade for a goaltender in the division.
Yeah,
teams have books on them.
I don't know if we'll see. Oh my God, I'm gonna Venagas, Mikis Venagas, that new goalie that Bathurst got from the BCHL.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think it's probably going to be a totally different goalie matchup than it was on Sunday. But this time, don't make it so friggin' easy. Don't make it so friggin' easy, right? If you're going to take your shots, get some shots off in the middle. Don't be doing, lazy wrist shots from, the top of the circle. That's just going to go right into the goalie's chest. Mix it up a little bit. Get more than 11 dangerous shots.
Yeah.
11, again, my opinion, they might have got 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
and danger could have just been in the area, but it wasn't.
You're not going to win many games if you're only having a goalie face 4 dangerous shots a game.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win. It's not going to happen. They need to just start peppering them with quality shots.
Yeah. And
if they do, the goals are going to go in, and they need to figure out the power play because
it feels like once they figure that out, the dam's going to break.
Yeah.
Once they figure out a power play,
they're so due for like a 7 or 8 goal game.
Yeah.
Right. But they just can't get the power play figured out.
Yeah.
But once they do, they're going to start getting those, 5 and 6 and 7 goal games. But I think that's right now they're kind of their Achilles heel. Is that the right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's just their downfall right now is this power play, and it's just too easy.
Yeah, they've had 7 3-goal games where they're 6-1, 6 4-goal games where they're 6-0. They haven't had a 5-goal or haven't had a 6-goal game.
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't beaten a team by 5 or 6 goals.
Yeah.
The other stat.
I'm not saying.
No, we need to see that.
Yeah.
No, we just in the queue in years past, you'll see a team have 2 or 3 8-1 victories, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just.
We're not the London Knights. We're not going to score 7 goals a game.
No.
They're due for a 7-goal game.
Yeah. What's funny is when I was doing some obviously stat stuff because I'm a nerd like that. When trailing after 20 or after 40 minutes in the league, nobody has a winning record. Nobody's come back all the way. Moncton's at 3-6, and it's one of the better records.
Wow.
Rimouski's 5-9. St. John's 5-19.
It's a shutdown league.
Yeah. So that's the thing is when teams are they're locking it down after 40 minutes, and we're 3-6 when trailing after 40 minutes. We're 5-1 when trailing. You go and you look at all 25-0-1 when leading after 40 minutes. So that's the thing. And when this team can get out to a lead, and that's why when we were playing Quebec and we got that lead in the second period, I was like, okay, we're going to lock this thing down. Maybe 5 more minutes we might not have, but it's a lockdown league for across the whole league, and that's great for parity. And I think you're going to have that again next year because there's not that many teams that are going to be running away with this thing. Like Chicoutimi, Blainville, that's it. Bathurst or Newfoundland, I guess. Sherbrooke, like you're still going to see the parity in this league, and I think that's something that is a good thing for the league. And I also, to kind of finish it up, like I go back to our first interview with Gardner post game. We talked about trap games and stuff like that, and he said the regular season is a laboratory. We're trying to figure out what works, figure out what doesn't work, and maybe they're keeping the bumper for the playoffs for a completely new look for teams. That could be a thing, but I'm not worried about the regular season. I want first across the board. That's all I want. I want to have home games throughout the board. I'm worried about the playoffs. That's where I'm at.
So it's a brand new season.
Yeah. I'm not taking wins and losses and highs and lows as much as I used to with this, because we're worried about the playoffs. That's when things are going to be highs and lows. And this team is working towards that, and they're putting things together. And like I said, just thinking they might have some bumper plays that they're getting ready and practicing, but they're not actually bringing into games. So we could see a completely different power play by the playoffs. But right now it's top 10, and penalty kill is saving this team right now. Do you guys stick tap ready?
I do.
You ready for everyone's favorite part of the show?
Everybody's favorite part of the show.
Eric Murray, realtor, buy our house from him. Stick tap of the week.
We're just going to start drawing up plays here every week now. It's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to see how that goes.
yeah.
Oh, these guys are now telling them what to do. No, we just see it in the NHL.
We're going to be the
so
next
we're gonna
Coach Chippy. We're going to be behind the bench here on Saturday night against Rimouski.
Oh, but we'd like to go 1-0 instead of 0-1.
Yeah, that's true. We'd like to have a better winning record. Stick tap of the week. So as you probably don't know, there's a lot of people that help make this show go on.
Yes.
And this show would not have happened if it wasn't for a gentleman by the name of Earl Taylor. Now you're probably wondering who Earl Taylor is. Well,
I am wondering, Jeremy.
If you've come to know me over the course of the years, you know I'm the ultimate cheapskate, and I hate spending money when I don't have to. So I didn't invest in snow removal this year. So the other snowfalls that we've had, I've been able to shovel myself out. But the one we got Monday was a bit of a doozy. And so I tried to find someone to come shovel me out or plow my driveway, and I found Mr. Earl Taylor on Facebook, the CEO or owner of Tire Headquarters, or
Yeah.
I've got his Tire Headquarters.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyways, he has a snow removal company called the Broco Brothers. I think Brothers something Broco, which makes sense. Yeah. So he cleared me out for a good price. I'm not going to disclose the price because people will be like, why the hell would you pay that for a one-time snow removal? A, because I needed it, and B,
Supply and demand.
if I would have paid the full season of snow removal, I would be nowhere near the value as of yet. So so far I'm winning. So thank you, Mr. Earl Taylor, for bailing me out today, getting me out of the driveway so I could make it to this lovely studio to do this episode.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the Remax Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the Greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
Yeah, Layla and I had that same discussion. Good thing we didn't pay for snow removal because we would have lost on that big time, and that's why my little snow thrower, mini snow blower, has come in handy a few times.
They sell those on Temu.
Yes, I wouldn't go with that one there, Mr. Timu. The Wildcat of the week presented by Rosemary, Lynn Massage and Spa. Right now they've got the teeth whitening available for booking $85. 3 15-minute sessions included in your service price. Add another 15 minutes for only $20. And don't forget they got the loyalty card. Buy 9 spa services, get 1 free. Call them at 506-830-1224 or stop in at 1224 Mountain Road. Could have had a few different people on here. But I'm going to agree with the Wildcats on this one. 2 goals, 2 assists in 3 games. He also has a league-leading 12-game point streak where he's got 25 points in those 12 games. He's just been on another tear. And I really, at this point, don't know much what more he can do other than score some power play goals to get this team out of it. But
good help.
Yeah, your Wildcat of the week is number 18, Caleb Denway. That's it, man. That'll do it for this week. Contrary to what we said last week, the bus trip is not sold out.
Yeah, that was fake news on that one.
Yeah. They got about 12 to 15 spots, I believe, left. So if you want to go to that road trip, March 5th to 8th, Rimouski, Sherbrooke, and Blainville. Go to the Moncton Wildcats fan club on Facebook. Get in touch with Tanya, Nicole, or Bruce to secure your seat. They need, like I said, 12 or 15 deposits of only $50. If you contact them, there are people that are willing to share rooms to eliminate the cost, because I think one person's like $1,200 and then 2 people it's like $749. So they have all the details there. So make sure to fill the bus there. Don't forget, Friday is Women in Sports Night, as Bathurst is in town for the home and home. And then the big one, it's video game night.
No, it's superhero night.
No, it's video game night.
I thought it was superhero night.
I thought it was superhero. They advertised.
Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through.
They advertised superhero night on the Jumbotron, and then today on the Facebook on their preview thing that they always have out, it was video game night. Both of them are in black jerseys. I don't know how they're getting away with this. I thought you had to wear white jerseys. It's kind of taken away from the specialty of the black jerseys if you always wear them, but they do have success in them. So, so if you have the Hometown Rewards app, make sure to go to that. You'll get a discount for tickets. If you don't have that app, make sure to download that so that you do get a small discount to that one, because that's going to be a big one. I think it's pretty decently sold out. I think there's seats around the end, but yeah, the two Gills, 4 players from Riverview is going to be playing in that game.
Wild.
Which is, yeah, and there's a chance of 4.
Five Bridges will be banging out so the peanut butter burgers before that one.
Oh, apparently they got the mac and cheese burger for Denise said it's like a 10 out of I think he said 20 out of 10, like one of the best burgers that he's had. Which I kind of forgot Jack Martin. But there's a potential that there's 4 players from Riverview, New Brunswick in the Memorial Cup.
That's crazy. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Again, want to send a big thanks to Mallory Rushton for joining us tonight, talking about her hockey career, the career of the Wildcats, and confirming that I do in fact need to hit up Amherst.
You do
to make sure to go to the
Elm Tree, and Club D, and a game. That's right. Before I get out of here, I almost forgot. The national championship game that was on Monday. Oh, yes.
Is in Atlanta. So Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, their food prices, they have the cheapest concessions in sports.
Oh, really?
Yep. $2 sodas, $2 pretzels, $3 pizza slices, $5 cheeseburgers.
Wow.
The idea was inspired by Augusta National. So when you go to watch the Masters, it's expensive enough to get in. They don't gouge you for food. Mm-hmm. They rank first in NFL's annual survey for quality price to value ratio. They looked at the old stadium and the new one. They say the price decrease led to an 88% increase in merchandise sales in the first year.
Wow.
Fans are now spending 16% more money on concessions than they did a few years ago, and an average of 6,000 more fans are entering the stadium 2 hours before games. They must have some sort of deal.
That's Atlanta?
That's in Atlanta. That's
wow.
Yep, that's the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank. They said the best indicator is that the model works. Ryan Smith and the Utah Jazz to Matt Ishbia and the Phoenix Suns dropping prices on food. Mm-hmm. Like a Coca-Cola refillable cup, $2. $4 souvenir refillable cup, $4. Chicken tenders with fries, $6.
Oh, Dobson's there every night.
Oh my goodness. I forgot about that. Waffle fries, $3. Like, it's just, it makes sense. If people aren't spending money on food, they've got money for merchandise. They've got money for families can go to games and spend the money on tickets when they're going to buy a $2 hot dog. So I'm not, and again, this is not the Wildcats. It's ASM, Global, and Avenir that's been ripping you off. They do all the pricing for all the food. It's not Wildcats related, but it is something that I hope continues a trend, because it's just getting ridiculous to try to go to a game and a beer is $18 in the NHL. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's it. We will be back next week. We will have a podcast for you, but by the time you watch next week's episode, I will have a little one with us.
And it'll be sitting right here.
Yeah, it'll be sitting right here. It probably won't, supposed to be in the hospital, but the episode after that, she will be sitting right here. She'll make her podcast debut if her mom allows me. For Jeremy, I'm Adam. See you next week. All right, that didn't play the intro song.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.